Hello everyone, welcome to CloudShare 365. So today we are going to talk about basics of cloud computing, the fundamentals of cloud computing. So myself is Devraj. I am a 3 years of experience in cloud and 5 years of experience in IT industry, and I am a Microsoft certified trainer, solution architect and cloud security engineer. Let's go to the topic. What is cloud computing? The cloud computing is nothing but accessing the remote servers over the internet. So cloud computing is about renting the resources on behalf of purchasing the hardware. So using the cloud computing, we can minimize the purchasing of hardware in the on-prem environment and we can go for renting the same resources from the cloud vendor. So what is resources? The resources is nothing but the hardware we need to run our resources. Then run your application on someone else's data center. As I said, we can run our application like databases or virtual machines or storage on Azure or AWS or Google data center. So cloud provider is responsible for physical hardware and facilitate necessary to execute your work. So we are not going to take the responsibility for our hardware. We need to only depend upon the application which is running inside the servers. So the cloud responsible will take care of your networks and the patching of your servers and the backend, the storage and everything. So cloud provider is responsible for keeping the service they up to date. As I said, the patching of servers, the updating the version of servers and increasing the hardware capacity in the data centers, which is completely taken care by the cloud providers. So we don't have any headache to purchase or completely manage the data center. So how cloud computing works? The cloud computing works behind the technology called virtualization. So virtualization is nothing but breaking the resources breaking the hardware resources using a special kind of software called a hypervisor and splitting up the resources and we use based upon our business requirement. So here we have a two type of hypervisor called type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. The type 1 hypervisor is a hardware hypervisor and type 2 is a software hypervisor. So type 1 hypervisor is nothing but on top of the hardware we install the software called a special software called EXXI or the Citrix Zen server. Once the hypervisor is installed, it has a capable to create multiple virtual machines. Multiple virtual machine means creating multiple guest OS like Linux or Windows or some other operating systems. On top of the operating systems, we can install the applications and binary we need. Then when it comes to type 2 hypervisor, the type 2 hypervisor is the same. It's a different from the type 1 hypervisor. So on top of the hardware, we install our guest operating system directly like Linux or Windows. Then we install an application like VMware Workstation or Oracle Box. Then on top of that, we install the guest OS. So here we have an hardware layer and hypervisor, but here we have an hardware layer and again the guest OS. On top of that, we install the software and the application. So example for type 1 hypervisor is EXXI and Citrix Zen server, and type 2 hypervisor is Oracle VirtualBox and VMware Workstation Pro. So type 1 hypervisor we use in an enterprise organization level, and type 2 hypervisor is commonly used in our laptop or desktop for the testing or education purpose. So the type 1 hypervisor is the main thing behind the cloud, how the cloud works. So in the cloud also there will be a many data centers. In the data centers consist of multiple servers, hardware servers. On top of that hardware servers they will install the hypervisors and they will split the resources and they will provide the resources for our business need. So now we are going to see about cloud services model. In cloud services model, there are many services are available on cloud, but we are going to see the top three, that are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now on on-premises, we need to take care the entire data center operations. So we are responsible for all the operations which is running inside the data center. For example, if the application is running in a data center, so we need to take care of the networking, the storage, the virtualization, operating system, middleware, data, and everything. So to break the complexity, in cloud services model, we have an option to select which service model we need to go. Whether in infrastructure model, the below four layers, that is networking, storage, servers, and virtualization, which is managed by Microsoft. So we are not going to manage the networking or storage or servers or virtualization or patching the virtualization OS. We need to just concentrate on the guest OS we are going to install, and the middleware and binaries and application which we are going to run on top of the infra. If you come to the platform as a service, in platform as a service, they will provide the platform to run our code. So if you are a Java or .NET developer, so you can just publish your code on the servers and run your application. So here the layers like network, storage, servers, virtualization, and the guest OS and the middleware applications and the OS to run the particular application will be provided by the Microsoft. So you can just simply push your code and play with your code. And if it comes to software as a service, in software as a service, it's like a bundled one. So all the application is a ready-made. So here you can just go ahead and access the application based upon your business need. Example, Google Drive, Gmail, so ticketing tools like Jira and Remedy. So many applications are there. The applications will be available on Azure Marketplace or AWS Marketplace. You can just go ahead and search for the required application and access the application based upon your business requirement. So cloud benefits. So cloud providers can pass on economic of scale to customers and acquire hardware at lower cost. So if you have a requirement for the short period of time, you need not to go and buy a hardware which have a high cost. For the short period of time, you can just go ahead and purchase the renting the resources from the cloud, and which is more flexible. So whenever your requirement is completed, you can just go ahead and delete the resources. And data center efficiency. Data center efficiency means you can just place your data center where the resources, you can drop your resources which location you need. For example, if you have a customer on East US or West US or Central India, based on the requirement, you can just drop your resources, and which provide a higher security. When it's but many people say the cloud does not have an the high-end security, but now the security has been increased. If it comes to Azure, we have a policies like sign-in security, conditional access, role-based access control, and Azure AD rules. Using this sort of services, we can restrict the users, and we can provide the roles based upon the user needs. And main thing is capex versus opex. Capex is nothing but the capital expenditure, the spending cost over the infrastructure, which is completely upfront, and cost return of over period of time. So here, if you have a physical data center and you have a requirement for the short-term projects, you need to completely purchase the hardware from the end to end, from network, storage, servers, everything, and you need to put a manpower to manage, and security for the data center. So here you're able to see there is a large amount of capital expenditure. But when it comes to operational expenditure, only you are going to pay for the operations which we are going to spend in the cloud. So here no upfront cost, but in capital expenditure you need to completely put your upfront cost for the data center building of the data center. And in operational expenditure you need not to have the upfront cost. You just access the resource and pay for the resource what you are going to use, and you can remove a resource once your resource is completed. So what is the typical premises capex and opex cost? So here on server cost, so the server cost you are going to purchase for the building the data center, and network cost and storage cost, and obviously you need a backup and archive cost, and DR cost. So here it all comes inside the capex cost. So once you need a build a data center on your on premises, you need to consider this all sort of points, and here you need to put the manpower and a special anything the special requirement which is comes under the capex cost to protect the data center. And when it comes to opex cost, operational cost, you are going to pay only for the server leased cost. So if you are going for the shared host or dedicated host in cloud computing, based upon the server specification you are going to pay. And software and license, for example, if you are going to use a software like some firewall software or some ticketing system software, you are going to pay only for the license, not for the entire data center cost. And based upon the usage or demand, the cloud will automatically scale up and scale down. For example, in this set of capex cost, you have a data center to run a particular there is a limit is there. For example, you have a data center limit up to 1 TB or 1 GB of storage or something, and if you want to expand your data center, again you want but you don't have a facility, you don't you need to purchase a new building or new space for expanding the data center. But here, based upon the usage, you can just scale up and scale down the resources, and it will only act as an operational cost. So here's some of the benefit for capital expenditure and operational expenditure. In capital expenditure, you can predict how much cost we need to build a data center, and only the cost is effective when you consume the full infrastructure quickly. For example, if you build a data center but you have not consumed the data center fully, so the half of the amount you put for the resources will be wasted. But in operational, you can just try and buy. So you can just go to cloud, you can just try the environment like a dev or test, and if it is works for your solution, you just proceed for the production. If it does not work for your solution, you just drop the resources, and you need to pay only for the amount you tried, and there is a low initial cost. So for the testing phase, you can just go with a lower requirement. In like VMs, we have a B1S VMs, and databases we have a low code databases. So using the operational benefit, we can just go with a low initial cost. And demand fluctuation, based upon our need, we can go ahead and scale up and scale down the resources. So here we have a cloud deployments model. We have a public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So what is public cloud? So public cloud is common deployment model which Azure, AWS, GCP are example of public cloud providers. So anyone from the public, like a student or a IT employee or anyone from the public, can just register their account on AWS or Azure or Google, and they can access the resources. So everything run on your cloud provider hardware. So as I said, running the resources on someone else data center, and this is available to anyone that they want to use or test the cloud functionality. What are the advantages of public cloud? High scalability and agilability. Scalability is nothing but based upon our need, we can increase or decrease the hardware requirement. And agility, we can just break down the components and integrate with any application which we need. And pay as you grow pricing. So pay as you go means what is the amount of resources you are consuming, you just pay for that, no capex amount. So there is no upfront cost, you just pay for what are the resources you are going to raise, and you are not responsible for maintaining the updates of the hardware. So this is the main thing and advantages of cloud. So you are not going to maintain the data center like patching the EXX servers or maintaining the network or maintaining the hardware. The cloud vendor will take care, and the minimum technical knowledge is required. That's all. So if we have the clear background and if you know the knowledge of virtualization, so it is easy for us to know about the cloud computing and how it works. So in private cloud, a private cloud is defined as a cloud computing service offered either over the internet or a private internal network, and only to the selected users instead of general public, also called as internal or corporate cloud. There will be two service model, I mean the cloud services model delivered in a private cloud. One is infrastructure as a service, which allow a company to use the infrastructure resource such as compute, network and storage. And the second one is platform as a service. Consider if you have your own data center. In the data center, if you install a software called Azure Stack, so once you install the Azure Stack in your environment, it will be similar to a public cloud, but it is a private cloud only accessible to the selected users. And you are responsible for the hardware and software. So what are the advantages? Using the private cloud, you can get a complete control over all the resources, and you can also support your legacy application scenarios, and you also get your complete security control over your data center. So what is hybrid cloud? A hybrid cloud is a solution that combines a private cloud with one or more public cloud services. A hybrid cloud strategy provides business with greater flexibility by moving the workload between cloud solution as need and the cost is fluctuate. So in hybrid cloud, let's see how it works. So you have an application in your on-premises which have a three-tier architecture: web layer, middleware or processing layer, and last layer is database. So you like to move this application securely to the cloud, but you're feeling unsafe to place the database on the cloud. So in this scenario, you just place your web layer alone to the public cloud, and the remaining middle layer and database layer you just keep it on the private cloud. So the connectivity between the public cloud and private cloud either be a VPN or express route. So this could be one of the best example how a hybrid cloud is works. And when it comes to advantages, yes, you have a flexibility to lower your workload based upon your business requirement either on public or private cloud. And if you have a legacy system or application, you just keep your legacy application which is running inside your private cloud, and you can continue to use your own data center which you have invested already. Now let's understand the Microsoft Azure core services. So if it comes to Microsoft Azure, we have variety of services. So in infrastructure as a service, we have a compute to run a virtual machine to deploy our applications, and we have a services called storage, the blob storage, Azure file storage and premium storage, and we have a networking such as load balancer services, VPN gateway and application gateway. So when it comes to security, in security we have a Azure Active Directory, MFA, Azure Automation Accounts. To securely store our encrypted keys, we have a Azure Security Key Vault. And when it comes to hybrid operations, here we have an Azure Ready tool. Using the Azure Ready tool, we just sync our on-premises environment to the cloud to access an application using single sign-on. And we have a privileged identity management. So here we just give a RBAC, role-based access control. So the role-based access control will use to provide the roles for the authorized users to only perform the necessary operations. And we have a backup And we have an Azure import export services to import and export the data from on-premises to cloud. And we have a site recovery services, so which is used as a DR in cloud, and as well as backup the virtual machines, databases, and other services. And when it comes to platform as a service, we have an Azure Web Apps to deploy our code on the server to play with the cloud, and we have an Azure IoT services for AI and artificial intelligence, and we have some of the integration services like Azure Storage Services, Azure Service Bus, and hybrid connectors. And to publish a content without a less latency anywhere in the world, we use the services called CDN, Content Delivery Network. And when it comes to the database solution, we have an Azure SQL database for large operations. We have an Azure SQL database warehouse and Redis cache and table storage. So these are all the services, the core services which covers in Azure. So next we are going to talk about regions and availability zones. So what are regions and availability zones? The region is nothing but the location for your resource. So in Azure, you are going to create a multiple resources like virtual machine, Azure Container Registry Services, Azure Containers or databases or storage. You need to select the region where your resources are going to be deployed. So the region means the location for your resources, and each region which contain at least one data center. So usually you need to select a region when you are going to deploy a resources. The region should be like East US, West US, Central India, East India. Many regions are there. So here we are on Azure geography page. So see, these are the available region and availability zones in Azure. So we comes to the Central India. We have an region in West India and Southeast Asia and South India. And also we have an availability zone available. This one is an announced availability zone. So you can check this map. So here they mentioned these are the this remains the available region and the announced region, which where the Azure is data center is going to be placed as a new region, and we have an availability zones, and this is an announced availability zone. If you see in central India, we have a announced availability zone. So once it is available for the public access, it will be changed as a available region. And and if you scroll down further, you can see the region wise information. So in India regions, we have Central India, South India, and West India, three regions. Locations of each data center is Pune, Chennai, and Mumbai. And year of opened is 2015, and there is no availability zone until now. So the availability zone will be coming zone, so by 2021. And you can also check what are the complaint standard which each data center is following, and the data regularity and data resiliency. And see, you can see all the products in the region. For example, if you open this region, you can check what are the services. For example, if the Azure Databricks is available on Central India, but the bot services is not available on Central India. So likewise, you can check what are the services and applications which is available. Applications means the SaaS application which I'm mentioning, which is available on each region. I just give this link on the tutorial. You can use it for your reference. So now what is availability zones? The availability zone is a unique physical location within a region. So each zone is made up of one or more data center which is equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking. For example, if you have a data center here and you placed your application on the availability zone, if one of the data center goes fail, your data will be available from another availability zone, because once you place your application or VM on your availability zone, based upon your number of availability zone option you are selecting, your data will be replicated across the region. So if any of the due to power failure or any data center failure, if the application is goes down, your data is still available. So now we talk about how Azure works. So now consider we have a data center which consists of multiple servers. So this is a rack server. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 5, 6, 7, 8 servers, and this servers installed with the special kind of software called hypervisor. The hypervisor which is used to hypervise the resources and we used as a virtual machine or based upon the application purpose. This SAC servers will be managed by the fabric controller. On top of that, it will be connected with multiple networking switches and ports. So this fabric controller will be managed by the orchestrator. The orchestrator will have the healthy of each fabric controller. This fabric controller will manage the each servers, and this orchestrator is managed by the API, application program interface. So this is the end user. So if I am the user, if I give the command to create a virtual machine, this command is taken by the API and send it to the orchestrator. This orchestrator send the control over to the fabric controller, and based upon the availability of the server's space and memory, the resources will be placed. For example, databases or container resources or virtual machine or any other services which we are going to use on Azure. So now we come to the summary of this tutorial. So we seen about what is cloud computing and how it's work, and we also seen about the cloud services model such as IaaS, PaaS and SaaS, and cloud benefits. What are the benefits of using cloud? And we also seen about what is the capital expenditure versus the operational expenditure in cloud, and what is the cloud compute deployment model such as public cloud, private cloud and hybrid cloud. We also seen about the core services of Azure such as compute, database, AI and hybrid, and many more services we have seen. And now we are going to see about what's next in our CloudShare 365. The motto of CloudShare 365 is to deliver all sort of cloud computing tutorials in high-end delivery manner with a real-time experience. So the technologies we will be covering in this channel is Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, AWS, network security using Palo Alto Firewall and DevOps. So along with me, a person, Mr. Shivaraman, who will be joining on our next video, and he will be share the knowledge on AWS and Palo Alto Firewall. So what we need from your end? So if you are ready and willing to learn and keep yourself updated with the latest technologies with the real-time knowledge, please like, share and subscribe our channel to CloudShare 365. Thank you all. Happy learning. Have a great day.